A recent YouGov/Economist poll about Donald Trump, George Santos, and Hunter Biden is equal parts hilarious and depressing and says quite a bit about our nation's priorities. Intrigued? Then click that like and subscribe and enjoy the video. Alright, so before we dive into today's video, I want to remind you of the wise, sagely words of one of American history's most iconic philosophers. Take it away, Uncle Ben.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
All right, so that was a joke, obviously. Uncle Ben is a fictional character in the Spider-Man universe and is not a real figure, but the words he expressed are iconic. They're some of the most iconic words in the history of not just American pop culture, but pop culture in general. And the sentiment is one that we as Americans, I don't know if we ever believed it, but we used to at least pay lip service to it. And it's relevant to what I want to talk about today. So there was a poll by YouGov in conjunction with The Economist. Both are very reputable sources, and their polling is highly credible. And bizarrely, it was about the favorability of federally indicted figures. I say again, the favorability of federally indicted people. And it concerned former President Donald Trump, Republican freshman Congressman George Santos, and bizarrely, Hunter Biden, who is federally indicted, but his relevance is in that he is the son of Joe Biden, the sitting president. He is not a member of the Biden administration. He was not a member of the Obama administration, in which his father was vice president. So he is an outlier compared to the other three. They're all federally indicted, but two of them are politicians, and one of them is a private citizen, which gets me to the point. So if you look at the poll, which involved 1,500 U.S. respondents, 43% had a favorability of Donald Trump. It's underwater, it's below 50, but it's 43%. And he was by far the most favorable of the three people, Santos, Hunter, Trump. Trump was the most favorable. Hunter Biden came in second place with a 14% favorability. And George Santos, who again is a sitting Republican freshman congressman, has an 11% favorability rating, even though this man has lied about everything. His biography, his work history, his history of philanthropy, his education, all the above. Lie, to the extent, as we've reminded you, 80% of his own constituents want him to resign. That's how corrupt and unlike this man is. He's also, like Donald Trump, well, Donald Trump is no longer, but he's trying to be. Donald Trump was the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, and he's trying to become that again in 2024. He's running for office. George Santos is currently a sitting member of government. Hunter Biden has never run for office, will never run for office, and was not a member or an appointee of any government agency or any body of government. So he is an outlier here, which gets us again to the Uncle Ben ethic. With great power comes great responsibility. Well, Hunter Biden may have more power than the average U.S. citizen, to be sure, because he's the son of a former vice president and the current sitting president. But does he have more power than George Santos, a sitting member of Congress? Does he have more power than Donald Trump, a former U.S. president, the leader of one of two major political parties, the Republican Party, which has become a cult that surrounds Trump, who will potentially be the president again in 2024? No, Hunter Biden clearly doesn't have anything close to that level of power. So why is he being treated as though he has more responsibility or even as much responsibility as Santos or Trump? It makes no sense. It is unjustifiable. I'll remind everybody that Hunter Biden has been the subject of multiple federal-level investigations under the Obama Department of Justice, under the Trump Department of Justice, under his own father's Department of Justice, to say nothing of the various investigations into Hunter Biden by Republicans in the House of Representatives, some of which are going on right now, and the Republican-led Senate before they lost the Senate in 2021. So this private citizen, who, yes, is probably corrupt, is certainly nepotistic, is profoundly troubled, and has pled guilty to at least 2 misdemeanors and potentially a gun felony, why is he being scrutinized more and treated as though he has more responsibility to behave ethically than sitting or former members of government, the people who wield the most power out of anybody? Private citizens should be held to a certain standard. A public official or public figure should probably be held to an even higher standard. So celebrities, people who wield great influence. But government actors, presidents, congresspeople, senators, governors, justices, judges, people, police officers, people who actually wield the power of the state, they should be held to the highest levels of responsibility, because again, with great power comes great responsibility. Power and responsibility scale, which is why a sitting president, be it Republican or Democrat, should be held to the highest possible standard of anybody. Why do we bend the rules for Democrats, in the sense that why do we hold Democrats and their loved ones to higher standards than Republicans? Because again, I'll remind you, Donald Trump had family members who were official members of his government, the Trump White House. Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, was Trump's advisor and attaché to Saudi Arabia in an official government taxpayer-funded capacity, unlike Hunter Biden. And then as soon as Jared Kushner leaves office, he inks a $2 billion deal with Saudi Arabia, even though he has no expertise in real estate. And he was, again, the official advisor of the Trump administration to the Saudi government, suggesting that he may very well have leveraged his influence corruptly to ink a personal private deal. He should be held to a higher standard than Hunter Biden because he was an official member of government wielding state power. He should be investigated once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times by the Department of Justice, by Congress. But he hasn't been. What about Ivanka Trump, Trump's own daughter, Jared's wife? Well, she had trademarks approved by the Chinese government while she was in the Trump administration, also serving in a taxpayer-funded official government capacity as a Trump advisor. She earned 16 trademarks from the Chinese government even when the brand that those trademarks served had shut down. These approvals for 16 new trademarks came about 3 months after Ivanka Trump announced that her brand was shutting down. Ivanka announced the immediate closure of her brand in July 2018, citing her official government responsibilities in Washington, D.C. However, her trademarks remain a potential conflict of interest as she continues to work on policy in the White House and meet with foreign leaders. She, again, unlike Hunter Biden, served in an official government capacity. And then, of course, we have reporting that Ivanka and Jared, because they didn't divest themselves of their various businesses while they served as government officials, made about $640 million while in the White House. So just to be very clear on this, Ivanka and Jared, government officials, government actors who were family members of Donald Trump, the then sitting president, leader of the Republican Party, made orders of magnitude more money than what is alleged to have been made by Hunter Biden, who again was never a member of the government under Obama or his own father. And he's been investigated many more times than Jared and Ivanka. So the bottom line is this: Uncle Ben is right. With great power comes great responsibility, and we need to get back to that. We need to remember that we can't hold the family members of Democratic officials who have never served in government to as high or a higher standard of conduct or more responsibility than Republicans and their family members who have all served in government. So anyway, this poll is hilarious and it's tragic at the same time. Let me know what you think.